Again.
Thank you all for joining us this evening. I don't have a gavel, but I've got kids, so I can talk as loud as I need to. And I see all of you people way in the back. There's plenty of seats up here. Thank you for joining us this evening. Before we get started officially, I would like to take a moment to say a couple of things. It's been a difficult week, no matter what letter you wear on your jacket or your shirt or whatever. It's been a difficult week in our country, and I'm very sad that we as a country have lost the ability to speak to one another with respect and kindness. So I have a Bible verse that I love in Corinthians. It says, even if I speak with the tongues of men or angels, but I don't have love, then it's like clanging brass. So we are charged as a council and as humans to do the work for the community to the best of our ability. And I can attest to you that even though we don't agree on everything, I know I can count on every single person here to do anything that was needed for anyone. So I would like to say thank you to council at the beginning of our meeting instead of at the end when nobody's listening. Mm-hmm. Because I think it's important. We don't agree on everything. We actually, my husband says we violently disagree at times, but we truthfully care about our community, and we put that first, and we care about each other as people. So thank you, council and staff, for everything you do every day to make our community the wonderful place that it is to live. So with that, we will do our level best to be polite, respectful, and professional with you and anyone that appears before us. So thank you all for joining us this evening. I also think the Oktoberfest must have gone really great. I was out of town and couldn't have gone, but I saw big numbers and the weather sure participated. So thank you all for supporting those events and making Fort Mill a destination to have fun. So with that, council, we will stand and do our Pledge of Allegiance, and then Ronnie, would you bless us? Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, as we come humbly before you today, we thank you for the blessings that you've bestowed upon us. We thank you for the blessings of life. We pray that you'll be with us tonight, guide us, direct us, give us the wisdom to conduct the town's business. We give you the praise and glory. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. All right. Council members, you have received the minutes from our September the 8th, 2025 council meeting. Are there any changes, deletions, additions?
No. Hearing none, I move to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
And a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Thank you. Public comment. Pursuant to Section 2-46 of the Code of Ordinances for the town of Fort Mill, any citizen, thank you, of the town may appear before council for the purpose of providing public comments on any municipal matter except personnel matters. Those who wish to speak must sign up outside the council chambers prior to the start of the meeting, and I have that. Citizens will be given 3 minutes each, and I see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 folks. If after the third or fourth one, we're all attempting the same presentation, we'll digest if we need the additional 3 minutes. So we'll start with someone I know, Dave Price. Hello.
Actually, we want to comment on the county.
Oh, you want to comment during the public hearing? Okay, I got you. I see that. You would be commenting, all of you would be commenting in this room for anything the city's doing. You would not be commenting for anything the county is doing. We have separate jurisdictional boundaries, so just make that known, that if you present and you come to speak, you'll be speaking to this council, and with that, it would be for whatever we may or may not vote on. So you want to wait till the public hearing. Frida, same?
Same.
Mike Laverstote? Okay, I know I really didn't say that well, I'm sorry. Maybe these will help. Glenn Grace.
Same.
Same. Roxanne Grace. Thank you. And Jerry Whelan from Huntersville. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna put all of you guys on hold for a minute. We will now start with presentation number 1, Introduction to the Fort Mill Hub, Gavin Witherspoon. Hi, Gavin.
Hello, how are you doing this
Good,
evening?
how about you?
Doing well. For those of you that do not know me, my name is Gavin Witherspoon. I am the town's first GIS analyst. I've been here since March of 2025. And this is something I've been working on, trying to steer the town in the proper direction as at least I see it, for GIS as a whole. GIS is a super powerful tool, and I don't think that we were even scratching the surface, nor is this probably even scratching the surface of what it can do, but it is a starting point. So these are typical questions I know that you guys probably get asked ad nauseum as representatives of the citizens, like, do I live within the town limits? Who's my water provider? Who's my council rep? Who's responsible for the road? What is my property zoned? So this is a screenshot of just the opening page of the GIS Hub. It's kind of a all-in-one website. The main map that you see with all the colors, that's the map that we've called the Fort Mill Explorer map. It has not every layer, but many layers that would help you if you really wanted to dive into the, if you were really good with GIS, you could dive in there, turn them off, interact with them, anything like that. And it just kind of, this is what you would see. This is now a public website, so it's available for anybody out there. There's the link to the town at the top on the left, and then the social media sites at the top on the right. If you scroll down a little further, and you'll see it in a second, there's 3 apps that I've created that basically they're just a quick access to information that people have. The first one is the address verification. You just type in an address, and it zooms to that address, and it tells you, yes, that address is within the town limits, or no, that address is not. The one on the top right is the utility service provider. You search, same concept, search an address, and it will tell you who your electric provider is, your water service provider is, and then town-specific, I added in what day your solid waste is collected. The last one's political districts, same thing, address, and then it tells you everything from basically Ralph Norman all the way down, county council, you guys, and then you can expand the information boxes, and I'll show you, but there's links to each individual representative's website, so you can contact them if you need to. At the bottom there of the web page, there is links to additional web maps that would also be informative if you need them. The York County One Map, I'm sure you're all familiar with that, seems to be the go-to. The RFATS map and the SCDOT map gallery.
Gavin, may I interrupt you for a moment?
Absolutely.
For those in the audience, RFATS is the regional, or Rock Hill Fort Mill Regional Transportation Group. So anytime you're asking about a lot of the roadways that we think, because they're in the town, they belong to us, they don't, you can find that information by linking into the RFATS link. I think that's important for people to know what that is. So just think R roads, and that'll help you with that one. The York County One Map, because I use it all the time, sometimes it freezes, so be patient when you do. And the DOT map gallery is pretty interesting for those of us that don't have anything else to do. Would you also make a note on the previous one to add voter precincts and locations?
Yes. I can
Because
look
we
at
do
that.
have folks we have very low voter turnout.
Mm-hmm.
It would be really good for them to be able to find a way to know where to go vote.
Sounds good. I can
Thank you.
certainly do that. So unless there's any other questions, I was just going to dive right into it and kind of give you guys a quick tutorial on it. So like I said, showed in that first slide, it's just a welcome page of our nice new town hall. This gives you an explanation, and I'm going to probably have to keep turning around because I can't see that far. Just tells you this is a multi-layered web application, provides access to information regarding the town, and all you have to do to open the Explorer map is just click anywhere on the picture. Comes up with the disclaimer, and that will pop up. I can change it if you would like, but that pops up every time somebody comes into it, just kind of, you're using this at your own risk, it's subject to change, kind of stuff like that. So it defaults just showing the town boundary and the aerial. The more you zoom in, I used what I thought would be probably the quick access information that people would want to know. On the right side of the screen also is just a floating legend. So as I zoom in and layers populate, you will see them on the right side. So as I zoom in, the roads pop up and the parcels. And so if you look on the right side, it tells you, reds are state roads, orange are York County, blue are Fort Mill, private, and then the split ownership roads and stuff like that. It's also live linked to York County's parcel data. So for instance, if you clicked on, come on mouse, if you clicked on that, it pulls it up just the same as it would if you were looking on their website. And the links should work to the deed book, plats, stuff like that. Over here, if you click the eyeball, that turns on all of the zoning layers, and you see they populate over here on the right, but you can also click and it will tell you what the zoning is. If I know sometimes when you're dealing with that many districts, the colors kind of can run together, so you can click on it and still find out, that what certain things are. I know of a discussion recently, the water service area was a big topic. So that is the water service areas. Sorry, the mouse is lagging. What is blue is Fort Mill. The yellow is York County. There's a couple of pockets of blue granite. There's the purple down there is Riverview water, but Fort Mill sewer, and then I think the green's Riverview. But you can see with that town boundary kind of in the background, you can see where, those folks on the northern side of town that are within the town limits but don't have Fort Mill water. This is the solid waste collection, so what day your garbage is picked up. The NAs down there in the middle are just like the greenway and commercial sites and stuff like that wouldn't get that. There's parks, and you can click on the park and then it'll tell you what it is, the address, and then it also has a link to the web page so that if you wanted to book it or find out more information on it, you can do that. And then the political districts, I just have county council for the time being and the town ward map. Town ward map works the same in that you click on it, it tells you who it is, and then boom. So direct all your questions to Mr. Garrison regarding the map. Let's see.
Good looking guy there.
So closing out of that, and with this one, you can, turn layers on, turn them off, interact. You can change the base map if the aerial gets too much or you just would rather see the streets. But the more you zoom in, those streets are automatically going to populate, and the address points too. All right. Closing that out, going to the more instant answer things. We'll start with the address verifier. So we'll just go up here, type in a building that we know is within town limits. And it's lagging. Come on. Chris, can you type on that for me? Because this is not worth picking up. Just type in 205 White Street North is how they have it. But don't click on it yet. I was just going to point one thing out. So if you see it populates, it's got addresses and then Esri World Geocoder. I've set it to pull from York County's address layer first. That's the addresses, so it should help people populate their addresses. I'll get into the other one in just a second. If you click on the White Street North one for me, please. So it zooms into the location, and then on the left side, you see it says the address you search falls inside of town limits. Now, Chris, if you will hit clear search results at the top. Just click it, and then type in, I think we'll just use 2010 Oliver Terrace, I think is the road that I looked up earlier. Okay, so real quick, it didn't find it within York County, but it found it in general, and it lists it as Fort Mill, but we all know 29707 is Indian land. So if somebody, and if you can click it, it zooms to it. That's obviously very close to being within the town limits, but it lets them know that it falls outside of it, and then the town boundaries on there to show them for those people who move here from out of state and get confused by the one town name, multiple zip code. All right, now let me see if I can take back over. The next one would be the utility providers. We will do the same thing. Do 101 Country Club, because I know that's the golf course. Thank you, sir. Zooms to it and then says that your water provider is Fort Mill, electric is Duke Energy, and your garbage is collected on Tuesday. We can go back out to the last one. And let's see if it'll actually work this time. Hey, it did it. Okay. So with this one, I added something. I didn't really know where to stick it, so I just put it in here. It's at the bottom, the school attendance zones, but that, like I said, shows you, you can click on, tells you all of the information about Congress, state Senate, state House, and then same thing, you can click on it and it takes you to their contact information. What I added here, because thought it would be useful, is school attendance zones. So it tells you your elementary school, middle school, high school, and then I added date modified because that's not a town managed layer. That's a layer that I guess York County does. And so I just wanted whoever looking at it to know that the last time that data was touched, when they ultimately do change lines, whatever, is it up to date? It was last touched on that date. For people who would rather just look at a paper map, I have some downloadable ones. So the zoning, for instance, just pulls it up. You can print it, you can zoom in, you can play around with it. If you rather just look at that, if you're more comfortable. And then these are the kind of the same things, solid waste, flood hazard, the fire district, and then I overlaid the town boundary, so you can kind of see there's areas obviously down in here that we serve as a part of our fire district that are not within the town. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for that suggestion. The water service area, same thing, really gives a good picture if you weren't as comfortable doing the interactive map of that large chunk of the northern side of the town that is York County water and not Fort Mill water. And then, as I showed in the slideshow, these are the links to the one map, the RFATS map, and the map gallery, and then contact information down here. I'm working on getting a fake email so nobody can bother me about the website, but we'll get that up in a bit. But yeah, so that is it. Any questions?
That's awesome, Gavin. It really is.
It's incredible. I know it seems like it wouldn't be an issue to know if you really live in the town or not, but it is a long-standing issue.
Well,
And-
the town boundary is just so weird. And I came from Lancaster County, and the city of Lancaster is just like that too, and so is, I'm sure, He Springs and Kershaw and all that stuff. So I think a lot of people think when they move and they have a Fort Mill address, it's just one perfect polygon, not little teeny. But those little teeny things do help me test items like this, because I can type in that address and it's just one piece on the middle of a road and it says, hey, you're not within the town. So
Love it. We're so happy to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
This product will help quite a few folks. So thank you so much. Council, do you have any questions for Gavin?
Gavin, I got to tell you this, I really geek on the GIS site anyway. This is amazing work to have everything like a one-stop shop.
Yeah.
Because not only for us and, people that are active, but this is something that the link can be shared from neighbor to neighbor.
Mhm.
And there are within Facebook sites and things like that, because I know in my neighborhood, it's always a question, who owns this street? Who do we call for this? And it's right here, and that is really an amazing weapon, so I
Yeah,
can't
well, when
tell
I
you.
first started, everybody that I met of course, never had the position. Everybody has a ton of ideas, but everybody's answer, like, well, how do you do it now? And the answer was always, we just have to use the York County One Map. So
Yep.
I made it my goal that I love the people at York County. I've become close with their GIS director, but I want our own thing, standalone, that don't have to filter through all this stuff. So
You're talking about town boundaries. I literally had a conversation with a lady on Main Street one time, it's been a couple years ago, and she was asking about the town borders. And she's like, it's just weird. So we pulled it up. She was asking me, where it was. So I pulled up a map. And she's like, why is it not like round? Or why isn't it like square? It just doesn't work that way.
in a perfect society, man.
No, but thank you so much. There's a lot of effort. This is something we've talked about, needing a tool like this for a long time. And this is outstanding work. So thank you.
Yes, and like I said, I put just what I have, I think is very informative and answers most questions people have, but I can customize it. If you decide one day you're looking at it and you're like, I don't like this color, I can fix that. I can change anything. I can add anything. I can take away anything. This is, just a starting point. It can be whatever we would like for it to be.
Fantastic.
This is
So what's phase
fantastic.
2 look like?
Yeah, okay.
Because this is amazing.
How do you follow this up?
Yeah, it feels like you've already worked yourself out of a job. You've done so much. I mean.
Well, I did all this before my 6-month review, so now I'm just on
Exactly.
coast mode.
Coasting from here, right?
Dessert first.
No, and I will say, kind of tagging on what Ben was saying, I like how it does feed from other entities too.
Exactly.
So you're not having to go in, or staff members
Right.
not having to go in and populate, so that we can pull
And that's one
from it.
thing that Esri does an extremely good job on, is people can publish things to ArcGIS online. So I don't have to reach out to York County and say, hey, can you send me the updated, addresses, or the updated, that's their electric service boundary. Like, can you, I can just add it and it just pulls it. Every time they update it, it pulls the most current file. And it works the same way for us. If I make a change, if they say the solid waste zones, I know there's a lot of development, Elizabeth, and then on the north side too, Pleasant and Vista Road. If they change that day, I can change it and push it through and it populates immediately. There's not a waiting period. When I was doing parcel mapping, there was always a waiting period. Somebody would split their land, and I'd say, well, you give it a couple days because the system's everything's pushed live. So it's an instant change.
It's great investment. What does our communication plan look like for town members, anybody who's using this, so they'll know this is active and live? And
We'll roll it out on our social media and our website. We just wanted you all to see it first, to see if you had any questions or suggestions,
Okay.
and we'll get it out.
perfect.
It's awesome.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
Good job.
Surfed
Great
around a lot of
job.
GIS sites, and none of those hold a candle to this.
Well, and I like the two different versions too. So the fact that you can dig into it digitally if you want to go interactive, but not always do you have the time. Sometimes just being able to pull up a quick map and look. So thanks for giving options.
And you should be able to, within the Explorer map, if you were looking at a specific area, neighborhood or even just a specific road, you could turn on whatever layers and you can print from there too. So that you'd have something to look at, draw on, whatever. But yeah, I thought it was important to add in the actual zone lookup apps because it's just a quick, if you're on your phone and you're, out talking to one of your constituents and they're like, what's this property zoned, or like, where does the town limit stop? You don't have to fight through all of that stuff. You just type it in and hit go.
We're going to test you.
Yes. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so very much.
Thank you all for having me.
We appreciate you a lot. All right. We will now move to old business item number 1, second reading. An ordinance to provide for the budget of the town of Fort Mill, South Carolina, for the fiscal year beginning October the 1st, 2025, and ending September the 30th, 2026, to provide for the receipt and expenditure of funds and other matters related thereto. Carrie Vargo, this is your item.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council. Before you this evening for second reading is the fiscal year 25-26 budget. The consolidated 25-26 budget totals $73,568,253. The two largest funds that make up the bulk of our budget are the general fund at $47,575,553. That makes up 61% of our total budget. Utilities fund, $20,694,000. That makes up 31% of our total budget. Special revenue funds make up 6%, and the stormwater fund makes up 2%. The general fund budget is supported by or funded by a millage rate of 83 mills. There are no proposed increases in water or sewer rates. There is an adjustment to the base rates for sewer in Kingsley and Masons Bend. That matches now the balance of the system, and that was precipitated by an increase from Rock Hill in the sewer rate. So the sewer from those two areas of town is not coming to our main wastewater plant, but rather going to Rock Hill. So again, the total all funds is $73,568,253, and I'll open it up to any questions that you might have.
Council members,
I think
it would be important to point out to our audience, both here and that will see this, that this council has met in excess of 21 hours on this, not straight, but in multiple sessions. We do take a hard look at all expenditures, and one of the things, I received a letter this past week from a gentleman that his mother lives here, and he asked in the nicest of ways, could we please do away with city taxes so that his mother could survive? And while I understand that, I think we all need to do the best job that we can in understanding the value that we provide for the taxes we collect. We certainly are service-oriented and are working hard to make every dollar matter for safety, for recreation, for parks, for services like water, sewer. This town has grown since I grew up here. It is now, we're closing in on 39,000 people in the town, in that Rorschach area that was just the town limits, not the county, but the town. So I do think that it's important that we put as much effort as has happened. Our staff has put far more than 21 hours in it. And, whereas we might agree and disagree on certain aspects of it as a whole, I don't want to live anywhere else. And I'm very proud of what we do with the money we collect and the services we provide. Council, do you have questions for Carrie?
No, I do not. I make a motion to approve old business item number 1, second reading of the town budget.
I just want to add one more thing. We've kind of had a general theme with council of to stop being reactive and start being proactive. This budget right here is the definition of being proactive for the town for today, but also for next week, next year, 5 years from now. So if you want to go through this, there's a lot of stuff in there where we're looking to the future, not just looking to tomorrow. So that being said, I'll second your motion.
I have a motion and a second. Anybody have any comment before we vote? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay.
All right, thank you. Old business item number 2, second reading, an ordinance amending Chapter 8, Article 3, Section 8-67 of the Code of Ordinances so as to provide updates to the code and add new procedures relating to solicitation. Chris Pettit.
Thank you, Mayor. The ordinance before you, this is second reading, represents the latest in legal best practice as far as legally regulating solicitation. Solicitation does have First Amendment rights, so it has to be something that is allowed, but you are allowed to regulate how it is done. So this ordinance requires that solicitors be issued a permit prior to starting solicitation. We are able to limit the hours that they are allowed to solicit to 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. and also provide prohibitions for solicitation at any residence where the owner or occupant has clearly noted on their property at their entrance, no solicitation or no commercial solicitation allowed, and there are fines should someone not follow that. So again, this ordinance at second reading is to establish the criteria that one would have to go through to solicit within the town, and it gives the town power to regulate how they go about doing so. The only change since first reading was one request by Councilman Wolf to add some additional language about a definition. That has been completed, and happy to answer any questions you may have.
And again, because this is an audience that may not have heard our original discussion, I believe as a council, we prefer not to allow solicitation. However, from a legal precedent recently, that is not within our purview. So if you do not want people to come to your door to sell you whatever, I don't know, I love the ones on the little riding scooters now that think that it's okay to run through my yard. Put something at your door that says no solicitation. We posted at the front of my neighborhood. Even that isn't enough. It has to be on your door. If someone bothers you and will not leave and it's on your door, you certainly can call and have that addressed. But it's impossible, even with the staff we have, to cover every street every day, 24 hours a day. We can't. So we are drafting and implementing the very best policy that's available to us to better manage this issue. Did I say that correctly?
You said it perfectly.
Thank you.
It's
Can you say
even-
that again?
And it's even more effective if it's actually at the mailbox. That way they don't even encroach into your yard, your sidewalk, or your driveway.
Ben's right. Put it on the mailbox. Keep your dog handy. Sorry, I'm full of myself tonight. Anyone have any questions?
Now, that just applies for commercial sales, right? If it's not political.
So there's actually there's two there's two pieces to it. If you happen to not want, well, let me see how to. If you want to have religious solicitation or campaign solicitation, those sorts of things, you can put on your mailbox or your door, no commercial solicitation. And that prohibits anybody selling you something, but it still allows folks to come campaign or what have you. If you want nobody whatsoever coming to ask you about anything, then you can put no solicitation. So there's two different definitions and two different processes that those folks have to go through. So there is a differentiation, but it does actually apply to both folks trying to sell you something as well as folks campaigning or looking for donations or what have you.
So they still have to get a permit.
That's where I was going.
There would still be a permitting process.
For anyone.
I believe the permitting process is only for the commercial folks, but the rules are still going to apply to those folks campaigning or what have you.
So commercial solicitation, you have to get the permit, go through the permit process.
Correct. And a lot of that is related to doing background checks, making sure that the company or the individual has historically followed our rules. They have to renew it annually. So if we have issues with a particular company that's not following the rules, they will not get the ability to continue to operate. We have the ability to revoke their permit at any time should they break the rules. So The goal is over time, folks that, follow these rules, that over time, the amount of unwanted solicitation would decrease.
Today, about 3 o'clock, doorbell goes off. I walk to the door. I have a no soliciting decal in the side light of my window, 3 inches max away from where his finger had to push my doorbell. So I did my best to fight back any sarcasm. And I opened the door, and I looked at him with my head sideways, and I was like, "Did you see the decal? No soliciting?" "Oh, I know, but I was just going to check in with you."
I know,
So, I know, but, yeah, I don't know him. Get lost. But
So our communication with that is we're going to put that out and
once it's completed.
So the ordinance, the effective date of the ordinance is actually November 1st. And what that does is it allows us time to go through and create the process, the application forms, and publicize the process, the application forms, not only from the expectations of the citizens of what they should expect once the ordinance is passed, but also for someone who wants to solicit or get a permit to solicit, what the expectation is for them, establish fees. This establishes a fee of, I believe it's $100 or $150 to get a solicitation permit, and that's good for a business license year for those folks. So to do all of that, it gives us 1 month to do that, so the effective date is November 1st. And we'll publicize this on our website, social media, et cetera.
Can we also do so with the HOAs that we have?
Absolutely, yeah, we
Make
can
sure
push this
they're
out
aware
to the
that
HOAs.
It's an extra step, not just the sign at the beginning of the neighborhood.
I think it's a great idea.
Great. Any further questions, comments? Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve old business item number 2.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank you. New business item number 1, we will start with a public hearing. Public hearing and first reading an ordinance annexing York County Tax Map Number 739-0000005 containing plus or minus 1.991 acres. This is in Ward 4. This is Councilman Moody's ward. Penelope, you're up. I guess we'll open the public meeting first. I don't have a gavel, so public meeting is open. Thank you. I'm good. Thank you. Dave, would you like to approach the, thank you.
Come on down.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you,
I know
Dave.
her as Gwen, so we'd just be Dave and Gwen and et cetera. So after Penelope explained a
Dave,
lot of things.
Come in closer to the microphone.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Fortunately, Penelope explained a lot of the planning issues that we weren't aware of. And after seeing the GIS presentation, I could have had a lot of questions answered with that, and we appreciate all the work you guys do. The only time you see us and we're in the county is when we got something to complain about. So that's what I'm here for. We've lived in Old Williamsburg for 30-plus years. It's the only place in Fort Mill that still feels like Fort Mill. We'd like that not to change. Some of my questions are, and like I say, they'd be answered if I followed up on some of this other stuff and we're able to spend the amount of time that you guys do because you get paid to do it, or some of you don't get paid to do it. But, so I have questions that I should already know the answer to, but I don't. So who owns the property? How long have they owned the property? I'm assuming that the owner has to request the annexation. So who's requesting the annexation? If it is annexed, is a zoning change required for the projected use? Which, if you do approve the annexation, then they're going to come back and probably ask for a zoning change. So that would affect things to you. And just general comment as far as the traffic, et cetera. You can't get anywhere on the bypass now anyhow. In fact, we now use Fairway Drive like it used to be used before the bypass, because the bypass is so bad you can't get where you want to go. Because of 3 schools, anywhere you want to go, you have to go by 3 schools. So unless you're between 10 and 2 o'clock, you might as well stay home. We don't like that. We lived in the county. We like the county. We don't want to be in the city. We don't want the city to surround us. And that's pretty much what I have to say. I understand with your help that basically all you're really voting on now is whether the city's going to provide the access or the county. So most of my comments aren't applicable now, except in general. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Frida?
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I find myself, every time I come before you guys, it's a quandary for me because I'm up here saying I don't want to be in the city. And it's a wonderful city. I love Fort Mill. So, but having been in a neighborhood like our neighborhood, which is fairly unique now because we aren't homes on top of homes and double homes and all that. And what I find myself thinking is, as if this development, if it has the impact of that one access in on that 1.8 acre lot, I think it is, how in the world are we going to manage that traffic? Because if they have to come out on Williams Road, and they'll go to the road of least resistance, and we already contain a lot of traffic from the bypass over to 160. Hensley's taken a lot of it, but we have a lot going on too. So I ask you, as a citizen of York County, as a friend to Fort Mill, I ask you to make a good decision about this for the good of our whole community. Because even though we're in York County, we're still in community, and we need to realize why this community is where people want to come, because of that friendly, nice area that is set aside in South Carolina. I don't know of another area in South Carolina that's gotten the attention that Fort Mill has because of our community. So we want our community, Old Williamsburg and the surrounding areas, to stay like it is. And I think that's a right we have too. So I ask you to vote with your conscience, and that's all I'll say, but thank you for listening.
Thank you, Frida.
Thank you.
Mike?
Thank you for listening to me and Frida and Dave. We moved here 15 years ago. Like everybody wants to live in Fort Mill for the schools and this and that. And we live on Williams Road, and we can hardly get in and out of our driveways now. And this annexation or development, for every house that's there, that's 2 more cars. And if they have children, that's 3 cars or 4 cars. So I don't think that the road can handle the traffic, and the residents can. But I hope you guys see that, because it's a quiet street. We hope to keep it that way. I mean, how many new houses? And, if it's annexed, it'll be even more traffic. I hope you'll vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Glenn Grace.
Good evening. Just like Dave and Frida and Mike there, we moved to Fort Mill about 20 years ago, and I mean, it's been home to us, and the changes that we have seen over the last 20 years is remarkable. But with this coming in on Williams Road, has there been any kind of traffic studies for the area? I mean, Williams Road appears now to be a cut-through from 160 to Dobie's Bridge, as it is now. And now you're going to add this to it, and I don't feel that the infrastructure is set up for another housing development over there. So I just want you to know I disagree with it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roxanne?
Good evening to you all, Mayor, Councilman.
evening.
Roxanne, we have been here, raised our girls here. We moved here like everybody else for the school district. Our girls are both product of Fort Mill School District. We love it here, absolutely love it. I would not want to be anyplace else. And with that being said, the growth is just unbelievable. You cannot go anywhere in just a few minutes anymore. To get to TKK or to Rivergate to now 521 is just, we are in this little bubble. We're surrounded by traffic, and you don't want to go anywhere before 9 o'clock in the morning or after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Anyway, with this annexation, I vehemently oppose that happening for the traffic and combustion of that whole thing. I just feel like it's going to, like they all said, Dave and Frida, Mike and my husband, that it's just going to create so much more traffic accidents, because the road, like you said, we can't hardly get out of the road onto Williams right now as it is. And then to get to 160 is just, it's just, the traffic is just so crazy right now. And I vehemently oppose it, and I hope that you guys will vote no. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry, I see that you're from Huntersville. Are you with the developer? Okay, I want to speak before I bring you up. Just for those of you that are here this evening, I know Frida and Dave had come previously, so you might remember this has been on the books and being discussed since 2021, 2022. Tonight's decision is about 1 acre. It's not going to change the density to this development. This development has gone like this, to this, to this, and back to this. So it's already zoned for what is being approved in that development. The only decision tonight is about the 1 acre to have an additional access road into that development. So I just want to make sure. You had asked about traffic studies, multiples. They have. I don't represent the developer. I represent this council, and I can tell you we have questioned and questioned and questioned and done as much work on this as you would want us to do. But I did want to make sure we're very clear that this evening is about the annexation request for 1 acre to add to a development that is already zoned for what they're building. So does everybody understand? I don't like it when I got to give messages that it's not what people want to hear, but it is my job to be honest and forthright, and I'm trying to be. So that is exactly to answer your questions and make sure you understand what the item is on our agenda this evening. Mr. Whelan, if you'd like to take the podium.
Well, on behalf of Mr. Jerry Whelan, my name is Sarah Shirley. I
Thank
am
you.
with Kimley Horn.
Thank you.
And I am actually a town resident, so I actually do get to enjoy all the benefits that I moved here just a few years less than the folks who spoke tonight. And thank you for that clarification. That's exactly what we wanted to get up here tonight to just say, is this is purely just to clean up the request that was made a requirement as part of the sketch plan process. So essentially, what this does is it allows a public road to go in versus a private road, and it's only just for that access point. It does not change how many lots are approved. And so thank you again for that clarification, Mayor.
Did y'all hear that? Lean up and say it one more time.
The request tonight is purely to make a public road versus a private road. It does not change the amount of lots that are approved as part of the project. So this is purely, this was a requirement that came about as part of our sketch plan approval, and we are fulfilling that requirement. So thank you.
Thank you. She said what you needed to say.
Mayor, can I speak, Mayor?
Yes.
To the mayor's point, this project started out like this and it got like this. We actually denied it once it got like this. Epps Farm was going to be annexed, slammed full of townhomes. There was going to be, I believe, discussions for a four-way stop exiting White Grove neighborhood. So we denied that. I mean, but the original parcel was developed, annexed in what year, Manager Pettit?
It's 21 or 22.
Well,
For the Henson
what we're
piece.
talking about as far as the entitled project was annexed in the early 2000s. I don't know the exact date. So it's been in town a long time.
So I just wanted to throw that out there for the good of the whole. So thank you.
Understand. Any other council member that would like to make comment?
Yeah, are we going to have any more of a presentation? Yeah, I was going to say Penelope.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're going to end the
Okay.
public hearing
Perfect,
first.
yes.
All right. We're going to, how you like that? We're ending the public hearing. Penelope, would you like to speak?
Yes, good
Thank
evening, Mayor and
you.
Council. Before I start, I do want to answer some of the questions that the first citizen asked. Who owns the property? Mr. Mack, Bayless Mack owns the property, and he gave permission to Mattamy Carolina Corporation. So Mattamy Carolina Corporation is the applicant for this parcel that's 1.8 acres for just the annexation for the access of the proposed road. So what the mayor stated is correct. This is only for the access to the 50 single-family homes that is part of the overall planned neighborhood district that's in the town limits of Fort Mill. So the applicant has indicated that upon annexation, an access road for a proposed subdivision known as Williams Reserve will be constructed. Williams Reserve is a proposed planned neighborhood development that consists of 113 single-family detached lots and 80 townhome lots and up to 220 retirement facility units. The access road would provide just access to a section of Williams Reserve that has on that map containing 50 single-family lots. We did do a traffic impact analysis. The property is contiguous to the town limits and it's therefore eligible for annexation. Regardless of whether council approves this annexation, the developer is entitled to build 50 homes on the portion of Williams Reserve that the developer intends to give access to by this annexation. Should council approve the annexation, the road network in this section of Williams Reserve would be proposed for acceptance by the town. If council does not approve the annexation, best practice would be to not accept the roads in this section of Williams Reserve and have them maintained as a private road unless York County agreed to maintain the entrance as a public road. Best practice is to not have a public road network restricted by one entrance that is privately owned and maintained. The applicant did provide a PowerPoint presentation that you all have received ahead of time of this meeting, and like you just witnessed, they're here to answer any questions about this matter.
So, at the risk of being repetitive, this particular vote that is before us is to decide whether to annex the subject site, which is 1.99 acres, so that it will be a public or a private road, depending on how we vote this evening. So, council members, discussion?
So if this is not annexed in, that would make it a public road leading into.
No.
Private road,
Private.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Private.
That's what I meant. And the roads in this Williams Reserve, they would be private to start, and then the developer would likely come to the town to get those taken over by the town, or how would that work?
If the council denies this annexation, then the developer's going to have to look at a private route, a private road, and what they're going to have to do because of Williams Road, to get that encroachment, they're going to have to go back to the county to see, will the county allow them to create a county road and have it all private to connect? But the town, if we don't annex this property, the town will not accept the roads in that 50 single family. It would just remain private.
For a little more clarification on that, the access point that they have, does that change with annexation or no annexation? Or the access point stays the same?
What you see on the, I'm sorry, I'm pointing,
Yeah,
but
I would do.
that subject site of that driveway is the proposed access that they would like to build that road to come into those 50. And so that would be, an encroachment permit to come into that site. So that location is where they're proposing. They have to get, because Williams Road is a state road, they're going to have to get the state encroachment permit. But Kimley Horn has had those communications, and SCDOT likes the direction of that location to align with the other driveway cut that's across the street. Did I answer your question?
That helps, yeah, absolutely. And then part two to that, I know we asked for the traffic impact analysis study, and we've had several done on this property. What improvements or changes are warranted according to Kimberly Horn's?
So right now, because this is only for the annexation, we're still working because, as the mayor stated, the zoning is P&D, but there was no conceptual plan. So we're going through the process before they can submit to the Planning Commission. We're doing a TIA, and it's completed and being reviewed. And so a lot of the improvements, Ms. Cook, is on the Parkway and at the intersection of Williams Road and Fort Mill Parkway to extend a right turn lane to head east on the Parkway. Those are some of the improvements. But we are getting close to the transportation mitigation agreement, but a lot of the improvements are on the Parkway because of that traffic.
Do we foresee any issues with SCDOT approving some of the recommendations given by Kimberly Horn?
At this time, no, I do not. But again, for the state roads, the last call for the encroachment is beyond our TIA and our TMA. It's the SCDOT makes the final call.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions or conversation? So Penelope, I think it is worthy of clarifying. If we say no this evening to the annexation, they still have opportunity to access the development off of the bypass. Is that what I just heard you say? Or off of Williams?
Off of Williams.
Off of Williams.
Off of
So
Williams.
We're simply making a decision whether this is going to be a private road or a public road. We're not deciding on if it's going to be a road. We're making a decision on annexation as to whether it will be maintained publicly or privately. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Because I'm sorry, but all of the minutia
Yeah,
around this
there's-
can be confusing.
It is, and, we try our best, to try and explain it, but like you stated earlier, this project started small, then it went big, and then bigger, and now we're back at it again. So this particular annexation is just for the 50 homes on Williams Road.
And I think it's worth saying to the public too, again, the zoning that is currently in place for this property, not this acre, but the project, the proposed Williams Reserve, was changed 10, 20, 30 years ago or more.
I think it was like around 2008 when we were looking at past minutes.
Yeah.
Almost 20 years ago.
So it wasn't in the last year or two.
No, it wasn't. Not for this.
Not for the proposed use.
Use, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? I need a motion.
I make a motion to deny new business item number 1.
Second.
I have a motion to deny and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. New business item number 2, a resolution authorizing the submission of an impact grant to the Municipal Association of South Carolina. Kerry Vargo.
Good evening again, everyone. Just to provide a little bit of background, one of the significant concerns that we typically hear in the area is that of traffic. We heard that this evening. So what we're currently doing is, we're really in the preliminary stages of evaluating an adaptive traffic control system throughout the town of Fort Mill. So the town of Fort Mill currently has 29 traffic signals, soon to be 31 traffic signals. I imagine we'll continue to grow with that as well. An adaptive traffic control system essentially can be described as a smart traffic control system. So a typical range in reduction in travel time of an adaptive system is anywhere between 10 and 20%, and can be as high as 50% if you're implementing that on a severely or significantly outdated corridor. Delays, typical reductions can be anywhere from 15 to 30% and can be as high as 42%. Stops, anywhere from 20 to 30% reductions can be seen, and again can be higher. And safety, there are significant improvements in crashes, typically rear-end crashes, when you implement an adaptive system. So we're also looking at some other things to include battery backup, generator plugs, and there's money in this year's budget, which you just adopted, for emergency vehicle preemption, which is a significant improvement as it relates to response times and traffic collisions of motor vehicle or emergency vehicles at intersections. So before you this evening is a resolution which authorizes the submission of a Big Idea grant to the Municipal Association of South Carolina. We're applying for $100,000. We're pledging a match. Those funds would be used for traffic data collection and system design. This is really just kind of the first domino that would have to fall. There'll be additional information that will come in front of council. Information from SCDOT as it relates to maintenance and operation of our traffic signals. So there'll be a lot of additional steps that will have to come. Best case scenario, 18 to 24 months, probably reasonable for traffic collection, data, system design, permitting, RFPs, et cetera. So we're 18 to 24 months out, and again, this is just step number 1. It is in front of you this evening because the deadline for the grant application is Friday, September 26th.
So is it put together already as the application?
Yeah, application was in your packets. It's ready to go. Just need the mayor's signature on the resolution, and it'll go in tomorrow.
All right. Just make sure nothing was changed.
So again, for an audience preview, this in the long term would allow Fort Mill to have control over how often lights change. I don't know about you, but the change at the head of Main Street, if you're coming up Main Street, you can't turn right on Tom Hall anymore, so you sit there for what seems like 20 minutes before you can turn right on Red, was not our decision because we don't control or manage those lights. I often sit at the Dobies and Tom Hall intersection for what seems like an interminable period of time as well. Can't tell I drive a lot, can you? So this would allow a more local view and management of what we see as residents in our community as frustrating and the bottlenecks that we have. Is it going to fix everything? Absolutely not. It will not. But is it a way for us to perhaps take over something, a piece of it that would make it better? I think that's certainly what we've been asked to do, is find any and all methods available to better manage the traffic flow in and through our community.
I have one question for staff. Does the program kind of hinge on obtaining the grant before if we don't get the grant, are we still going to go down this road, or?
Well, that would have to be something that we would have to come back in front of you, because there are funding implications there. And again, there's a lot of dominoes. If we take the traffic signals from SCDOT, we have available funding, which we can bake into that. But $100,000 from the association would go a long way. And I certainly would want to take the time to see if we were successful there. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think this is a good grant application. So, I'm very, very hopeful that we'll get the funding. But to answer your question, Mr. Moody, we would come back in front of you to revisit funding options.
So my understanding, I believe, is that the 100,000 plus our match would be to undergo the study that we need to obtain them.
Yeah, we need to do updated traffic counts throughout the entire network, and that just gets us to kind of preliminary design. Modeling, really understanding, what kind of benefits we think we can get, what system, there are different types of systems, what system would be optimal in our particular network, et cetera.
So to study it.
Correct.
What is our match portion again?
100.
Yeah,
It's 100, okay.
Right.
I know in the report you had mentioned grants and things like that. They're available to further take this further should we get this grant and find it a viable option.
Yeah, absolutely. The goal between now and the time we're done any preliminary system design would be to, reach out to potential partners, York County, pursue funding through RFATs. I get notified every morning about certain grant options. So we're actively monitoring available grant funding that we can apply, and we have much of what we need, so it wouldn't take much for us to pull that trigger.
Good work.
Is there anything, understanding that it may take 18 to 24 months to get the data collected before we really even could start implementing anything with some of this, is there any opportunity for us to work with South Carolina DOT on a couple of those targeted areas, as the Mayor said, right there at Dobie's Bridge and Tom Hall? Everybody's staging in multiple, it's now a 3-lane road if you're in that intersection, and that's just going one direction. So,
Yeah, so 18 to 24 months, I think, would really get us to the construction phase, but that's not to say that we couldn't look at those particular areas and ask SCDOT to look at retiming those. I don't know those particular intersections that the mayor had referenced, how long ago it was that those were timed. How updated the counts are, et cetera. So like it said in the briefing material, if you have outdated timing, you can see upwards of a 50% improvement, which it's incredibly significant. So we can take a look at that in the meantime.
Well, I believe the data that you've provided in here and the changes that could happen with this type of investment, I do feel like it probably has been an outdated communication that we can probably benefit a little bit. If we can get 2 or 3 more cars through an intersection, that makes a big difference. So,
Yeah, every 3 seconds is a car, so we could take a look at that.
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
I'm thinking things like generator plugs and the bus backup, battery backups and things like that. That's not something, as if we were to implement it, that's going to cause traffic disruption and things like that. That can all be done out of the roadway, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, all that construction would be immediately adjacent to, or if not on top of, the current location of the signal boxes.
Right.
So it wouldn't impact that. And certainly that provides the redundancy. So in times of emergency, whether it's a hurricane, straight line winds, whatever, if the area loses power, we still have them. But, evacuations, things like that, hugely beneficial.
Well, it's not just that. I believe in our discussions previous, head of Main Street is notorious for being the light signal being interrupted when we have storms, because Whiteville Park is beautiful for all its trees, but it causes the interruptions. Having that battery backup and the control over it, we wouldn't have to put an officer at the head of Main Street to direct traffic. It would actually pick up on its battery backup. So I do think there, to Lisa's point, I think this is an interesting opportunity for us. I can tell you, RFATS doesn't have any money. I'll be there Friday and I'll ask again.
You're going to fight for us.
Maybe.
Every day.
Yes, every day. Kidding. I do go and I do ask, but again, the distribution of funds at RFATS is oftentimes tailored to the municipalities with the larger population, not the higher trip count. 10 years I've been working on. Look at it for how many cars come through our community, not how many generate in our community. So anybody that wants to come to RFAS, it's open to the public. You're more than welcome to come and share my message and sing with me that we have higher trip counts than we do population. But I do agree with Councilman Cook. Let's don't take our foot off the gas on asking for help in those areas that we need to identify where the problems are and submit it. I go over there, and if I don't have the information that it's a problem to present, I don't get any attention to the issue. So I need those issues before I go to that meeting, not afterwards. So therein, we have a motion in front of us to ask for an impact grant for $100,000, in which the town would match $100,000, and that $200,000 would go to do the research and traffic studies in several of the areas that we have issues. It would take 18 to 24 months to begin implementation. I do believe, I don't count on it, but I do believe the state offers money if we are to take over the operation and function of those. They offered us money to take over Main Street, and we didn't get it, so go figure. But that's what it would be for, and I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve new business item number 2.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, thank you so much.
RFET's meeting, 12 o'clock.
12
Rock Hill
o'clock
Operations
Friday at the
Center.
Rock Hill Operations Center. Ben and I will be there. We will.
Gloves on.
All right. New business item number 3, award bids for the 2025 infrastructure improvement project. Eric Davis.
Good evening, everyone. So back in the spring of this year, council authorized staff to design and solicit bids for the reconstruction and improvement of 5 roads in Fort Mill, including necessary underground utility work. And these roads were Phillip Street, Looms Way, Calhoun Street, Pine Knoll Street, and Monroe White from Tom Hall down to Academy Street. The town went through the bidding process for each component of the project. Asphalt and base replacement and repair, water and sewer replacement and repairs, stormwater relining, and additional drainage installation. Once the scope of the project was defined, the estimated total project cost was $3,270,000. Our low bid expected cost will be $3,065,000. Tonight, we're asking council to approve a motion that will award this project to 3 separate contractors for their specified scope of work, and they are as follows. CK Contracting for the water and sewer work in the amount of $2,203,475. Thermoform Inc. For the stormwater improvements, $205,364.75. And then McAteer Design for the road work for $657,000. I'd like to point out that the improvements for the stormwater and the road work would be funded through budget amendments that this council approved about 10 months ago, back in November of '24, the beginning of this current fiscal year. And what we would do for the water and sewer improvement component, which is $2.2 million, we would bring a budget amendment back to council in October next month to pay for that. We would appropriate cash reserves. It was always the plan to appropriate cash reserves for that component, but we got the bids for the water and sewer last week. So it takes 2 meetings to do that. So we would have the first reading at the first meeting in October, second reading at the next budget or the next business meeting in October. So we really don't lose any time, but that would be the game plan of how we fund all of that. So with that being said, I'll be happy to try and answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, Eric.
And for clarification, Eric, on these projects that also have sidewalks, I know not all of them had sidewalks. Will the sidewalks be touched in any of these?
I know that on Monroe White, most of the sidewalk will be absolutely replaced because a lot of the underground infrastructure is under the sidewalks themselves.
Okay, thank you.
And please note that sidewalks cost as much as roadways. Believe it or not, it's true.
How long do we think the work would take to get done with it?
The question is, how long do we think the work will take?
It'll probably take just a couple of months to get everybody mobilized, and get everything in, so it should not take a long period of time.
Any further questions? Hearing none, I need a motion.
Make a motion to approve new business item number 3.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second for new business item number 3. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Thank you so much. So, this evening, this council has addressed traffic congestion and lights. We've addressed road reconstruction. We've addressed annexation issues. We've introduced a brand-new tool for our residents through the Fort Mill Hub. We've approved a budget in which we are being aggressive to pursue things rather than respond to them. I think it's a great place to also say every time you see us responding to a water leak, it didn't cause the pipe broke itself. It's because somebody dug it up, okay? So I need to say that because we seem to have a huge amount of water line breaks, but it's because of all the new wiring and all the new systems that everybody wants. So thanks to all the folks in the field that respond to those issues and get it done as quickly as possible so people aren't without service. You just don't see them sitting up here, but they work really hard. So please say a thanks to all those guys and girls that work out in the ditches and the heat and the bugs, and I couldn't do it. So with that, we have no executive session items, no information items. Ben, do you have anything for the good of the whole?
No, I really appreciated your opening statement about the cohesiveness of the group. I mean, that resonates with me. I think that's something it facilitates getting to the issues and solving problems and coming to, we have some spirited debates and all, but I think that at the end of the day, there's still a great deal of respect, which I talk to people that watch other meetings, whether it be county council or Charlotte City Council and things like that, and you have people screaming at each other and coming across, getting up out of their chairs, and I think you're right. It's a very effective group, and to Alan's point with the budget, trying to be extremely proactive, and we kick around some crazy ideas, and some of them are stop and think about, okay, maybe that's not so outlandish, but I think that's part of the other issue that you talked about was being able to listen to an opinion that you may at first, stiff arm, but be able to actively listen, which I think is on the decrease sometimes, to actively listen to what each other has to say and maybe be convinced, prepare your mind to be changed. So with the risk of getting on a tangent there, just thank you guys for what you do, and thank you for that opening statement, Glenn. That was right on the money.
All righty. Alan?
Mirroring everything that Councilman Hudgens said, the only thing something completely different. Leaves are starting to fall. People are raking their leaves, putting them on the road. Please, 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 do not put your leaves on the road or put them in a storm drain. Gordon, can we put out some communications
October the
with that, please?
15th is when the leaf truck begins. I looked it up today.
I've already seen down Mackenzie Street, down my area, that leaves are being piled up on the road, and they're just going to go right into the storm drain.
And you wonder why that's a problem. It's a problem because it will rain again.
Right.
It will.
Soon.
And it'll push all of those leaves, debris, trash into those grates, and then we have a problem. The roads flood, we have a problem.
Leave your leaves in your yard, and they'll be picked. We got a big long arm that'll pick them up. It's really cool. But that's it. Like I said, I just, again, the respect. We all work together. We don't always agree, but we always respect each other. So that's it.
Thank you, Alan. I'm really happy you took up the leaf issue with me in the grates. Yes. Lisa?
Next will be tree hugging and recycling, which is
love
my
it.
thing. Yes. No, I just want to thank staff for all the hard work they put into the budget. I know we crammed a lot into the last month or two, and I look forward to renewing our processes to where I know I've received from our manager the assurance that we'll be getting presentations in a more timely manner throughout the year rather than such a rush at the end, so that we can have time to really ask the questions that we feel like we need to ask on your behalf and give you a chance to do so. So I thank staff and council for everybody coming together to allow those questions to be asked, and look forward to what the new processes for next year bring.
Thank you. Ronnie?
Since I live on Walter Elijah Park Drive, I come by there a lot, and there's more and more people hanging out on the amphitheater, and we have signs on the amphitheater that says, "Please do not play on the amphitheater." So I just wanted to get that out in the public since this is viewed. Please don't play on the amphitheater. Thank you.
Mr. Moody?
It's good to be here, good to work. We got about maximum capacity crowd tonight. I think this is probably the biggest we've had since we've been in here. So kudos to y'all coming out on Monday night. The last couple of weeks have been interesting in our country. I think our country needs to get on the right track. I'm just going to say it, and turn back to where it needs to be. I'm going to get a little personal for a second. There's the old Brad Paisley song, "If I Could Write a Letter to Me." And a friend of mine sent me a text last week, and it was a sympathy card. His father had taken his life in 2002, and just something you never would, out of sight, out of mind. And he's going through a box and finds his card, and he sends it to me. And I said, "What is this?" And he said, "Thanks for your friendship all these years." And he's now the current missions pastor at First Baptist Fort Mill. And I read this letter when I was my 22-year-old self to my 46-year-old self. And it said, "I do not really understand why I'm in Fort Mill, but I'm glad to be here now." And I think about all the good people I never would have met had it not been on this council. Larry Huntley, Jamie Shirey, Trudy, all the staff. It's just been a blessing to live here. It really has been. And I know we got our challenges. I know we got a lot of growth. Where I came from, everything's boarded up. So let's be thankful for what we have. And we're all in this together. So that's about all I have. So thank you.
Well, believe it or not, I'm glad you're here too. So, today. Thank you all for joining us. It's important that we hear from you. It's important that we understand your concerns. We work really hard at this, and it's not in a vacuum, and it's not in a box. We have great staff. I've been in, this is my 21st, almost 22nd year serving my community, and this is the very best staff we could have hoped for. We're making progress, which is grand, and it's a wonderful place. Ronnie and I have served together the longest. We're probably the grumpiest, and we definitely can't hear.
And I'm the oldest.
He's the oldest. I'll let him hold it. But we're grateful. We're beyond grateful. That doesn't mean we won't have challenges that you'll get really upset with us about, but we do our best. We do our best every single day for our community. And with that, I hope the rain does come. Don't put your leaves out unless they're in a bag until October the 15th. Don't be putting big trees out beside the road. You have to cut them up in appropriate lengths so our truck can pick them up. And quit littering. So with that, football stinks in South Carolina this week. So, yeah. Yeah, at least the Panthers won. Who knew? Who knew? All right, well, we appreciate you all, and I appreciate this council and staff. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, thank you so much.